All right, so we have a $5 super chat from Karen Arnold, or Karen Arnold, a super sticker. Thank you very, very much for the $5 super sticker. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for helping us kick off our 15th anniversary celebration, as well as our MLK, supporting our MLK Day live stream fundraiser. And we have a $20 super chat from Archradish. Can't wait to see y'all in a couple of months. Yes, thank you so much. We do appreciate you. We appreciate everyone who has supported our live stream fundraiser so far. We're only doing this for 2 hours because we know it's been a lengthy day, and we don't want to take up all of your time, but we really do appreciate everyone who has tuned in. This has been a fantastic conversation. If y'all are having a good time during this live stream, please don't hesitate to let us know. We have a few more guests coming up, and I am so excited. I'm welcoming back our sister Cynthia to the stage, and alongside her is another one who was just recently a guest on In the Cut. We got Barb, Mr. Black Atheist Rants. Welcome to our live stream fundraiser for MLK Day. It is such a pleasure to see you again. We just saw you this past weekend. Me, you, Edith, Sharon. We had some brunch, and so it was just really good to see you. And to see you in person, and just see you and have this conversation with you on the show. So welcome, and welcome back, Cynthia. I know you. Hi. Yes. So on this MLK Day, which is monumental, we are still dealing with a lot of religiosity in the Black community. We still see a lot of even Black folks who don't necessarily understand the history of Dr. King's legacy, and we still have a lot of Christianity and a lot of things to contend with in Black communities. So I would like for y'all, for the next 10, 12, maybe a little bit longer, a few minutes, let's talk about how we can continue to challenge religion in Black communities, and also help reshape the narrative for us, especially to uphold Dr. King's legacy.
I'm going to let you go first, Bar. Beauty before age.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just make sure. How you doing? I know we ain't spoken to you.
I know. I sent you an email. Make sure you check it. No. Yes, it's been so great to see you. But yes, continue. What would thoughts be on Medisa's post question?
Yeah, because I actually just got off the TikTok live stream, and over there I run the topic is Black people shouldn't be Christians, Muslims, or Black Hebrew Israelite.
Right.
And so the whole goal is just knowledge, information. People, there are things, there are dates, times, people, places, events that have happened that people don't know about when it comes to these religions. And so I think they always saying knowledge is power, but we literally have to dispel all of this false information, all of these lies, all of this. I keep saying this, and I need it drilled into people's heads that when you talk about the miseducation of the Negro, Christianity is the beginning of that. Christianity is a part of our miseducation. We've been lied to. We've been miseducated, and people need to know that the truth is out there, and we have to get on these platforms, and we have to repeat the truth just as much as those lies have been promulgated. I guess that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, propagated. Yeah. Propagated. It's all good.
Every time you see a video talking about Christianity started in Ethiopia, it need to be 12 videos talking about how the Ethiopian Bible is not the oldest. Every
Right.
every time you see a video about uh Christianity and Christians led to the abolishing of slavery, you need to understand who they were fighting against and who started it. You
Right.
do you know what the Dum Diverses is? Have you heard of the Romanist Pontific, where the Christians said, "Go into these lands,
That's right.
and if they not Christian, enslave them and take it." We got
That's
to
right.
know this stuff, and it starts with educating people and just saying the truth out loud. How often do people say, we spend so much time debating these Phil Bro, the unmoved Yahweh is a son of El out the Canaanite pantheon.
That's
That
right.
was not real.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, the like off real. People gotta hear this. They gotta know this stuff. Gods are made up.
That's
All of
right. That's
it.
right.
And I would just say educating them, saying it out loud, repeating it. Don't do internal critiques. Stop doing internal critique. Where was God during slavery? God isn't real. Why didn't Jesus come? Ain't no Jesus. People need to hear this out loud. Ain't no Jesus.
Well, we can also say that Messianic
Messianic
cults
cult
were a
were
thing as far as that particular
Line up.
time period that Jesus was supposedly espoused.
Mm.
So that could also be part of the conversation about, well, where was Jesus. And I would even conjecture to say that if we take that further from what you're discussing, it's not just Christianity,
Right.
because our people also have, connected themselves to other religious facets that actually it really points on how they think, how they behave, how they practice, certain things in their lives. I was even thinking about when I was on a live on your TikTok, some time ago, when you had a cultural Jewish person that came on to the show, and I would basically say, yes, I give you credence to this. However, you still have to do you still recognize that some of your practices are still based on a belief system? It's still based on a religion. It still happens to inform some of the things on how you think, what you think, and how you actually, conduct your life. And I think that that's something that should be brought up multiple times when we're talking about us, especially as a people, because us as a people are very much so entangled into identity and belief. It's very much so on how we conduct ourselves, to the point where, and I know that you heard this before, Bar, that how can you call yourself black if you ain't Christian? How can you call yourself black and you're not a believer?
Yeah.
How can you even call yourself black and you don't even believe in God per se? Like, because, like, a conversation that we hear a lot amongst us is, well, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual.
Mm.
And I'm still trying to figure out what the hell that means. But I think that when it comes to the point where we can kind of divorce ourselves from these made up things that you talked about, because, like, if you want to go back to the pantheon of gods that different religious sects actually chose, I'm going to choose Yahweh, I'm going to choose Yel, I'm going to choose Jehovah, I'm going to choose you know the goddess Ashtaroth. I mean, like, all these different things, right?
Mm.
It's still something that was made up by people millennia ago in
Yeah.
order for them to understand or try to figure out what the hell that they're seeing that's called reality. You know, and I hope for that day that we can get to the point where we're just looking at reality for what it really is, and actually glean and actually attach ourselves to what is here right now, so that we can actually utilize the knowledge that we have as, as a people, as humans, in order for us to forward what it is that we really need to forward.
Yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
I agree, because people deconstruct Christianity, but it's like it's all it's so many different layers of uh like indoctrination and
Yeah.
things that you just gotta unpack all this stuff. I think I heard one person say like I think she was like she's gonna always be deconstructing and unlearning and unpacking things until she dies. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
because every day when you out here seeking new information and challenging all the things you've been taught, it's like, damn,
Hmm.
every day you find out this don't make sense or that's not right or this don't line up. Or, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, uh, I'll say it, elephant in the room. Atheists can be racist. Atheists
Hmm.
can be misogynistic. Atheists can be uh homophobic, all these things. This stuff don't go away just because, oh, I'm not a Christian no more. You still got shit to unlearn and unpack though.
That's right. That's
You
right.
know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very true, because like I mean, like, you spent an umpteenth amount of years in church, and so have I,
Don't
right?
remind me.
And like, we come across, information that, basically debunks some of the things that the pastor has preached to us for, for decades, right? And you're like, "Oh my God, I did not know that." You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then, like, you even look at, like, if you even look like church structure, and it being so hierarchical, and how it even has been integral on our oppression as a
Mm,
people. I mean, like, I know that, like, a lot of people would talk about, oh, like, the majority of abolitionists were Christian. And I was like, but you also understand that white abolitionists were the minority,
mm,
right? You know that, right? And even if I give you, like, yes, Christianity is what they basically utilize in order for them to substantiate their beliefs and why we should be free. But there, it was not necessarily, and this has have been in my particular studies as far as, like, abolitionism and Christianity going, and how they co, that when I was reading the autobiography of John Brown was mostly a Christian, a preacher, and his father was a preacher. He was an abolitionist as well, that basically went off on, you know, mostly like, because we're supposed to be because, like, who the sun sets free is free indeed. That's usually the only scripture that they actually went upon. I mean, no mentions of Leviticus, no mentions of Deuteronomy, no mentions of, even how slavery is to be treated in the Pentateuch, right? So it was mostly, based on, I would say, like, a couple of maybe like one or two scriptures and vibes, but not necessarily, you know, utilizing the book in of itself to say that this is the reason why they should be free. If anything, we have plenty of documentation on how slavery has been upheld and also justified using the Bible, and how, slave masters took out some of the freedom doctrines that came out of the Bible, like, some portions of, like, Exodus and things of that nature, and just put in the ones that, basically propagated the institution of slavery in the slave Bible, and that's what they preach to preach to slaves in order to keep them subjugated. So I think that all those particular things is one of the reasons why I can't even if I give you credence that maybe there is a God, I can't be a Christian. I can't even really worship this God, because I'm like, why would your book be used in order to substantiate and to give credence to my oppression, to my people's oppression? to other people's oppression. It's not right.
All right, all right, all right. So yes, I mean, I know this is something. We could go on about this
Right.
probably a long time.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll have Bar on the show so that we can just like basically rant about this for like right 2 hours, 3 hours.
I'm so tired. I go all night about this one right here.
Yes, sir.
And so I know, this is what you do. This is definitely what you do, Bar. So thank you so much. And speaking of, let folks know where they can find y'all all over the interwebs.
Guess first.
So you can find me at Black Atheist Rants everywhere: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, Twitter, whatever. At Black Atheist Rants. So that's my name everywhere. Wherever you at, I'm there. Type in Black Atheist Rants. Even if you type in Black Atheist, my picture gonna pop up. So
along with Mandisa.
I was telling Mandisa this when we was at brunch. I was like, that was my goal. When you type in that motherfucking Black Atheist, do I pop up? That's what I wanted. So Black Atheist, you're gonna see me and Mandisa. That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
Nice. And that you all went to brunch, you also going to see flying biscuits. I was going to ask you if you actually had one hit your head. But you didn't say anything, Mandisa, so I'm going to leave that alone. No. But regardless of that, as far as like where you can find me, I'm at Cam Glamming on Blue Sky, on Threads, and on Instagram. I am on Facebook at Cynthia McDonald and at Cam CAMM, and also here on the YouTube, I'm on at The Roots Matters, where we talk about news and politics from a skeptical humanist point of view that happens to be hosted by a Black woman such as myself. And Bar will be a guest because I'm speaking that to existence. Manifest. Watch out there now.
Yes. And also
wait. Sorry. Shun Decay. Got you.
Yes, and we are pleased to welcome Bar as our newest speaker on our lineup for BNCCon 2026. So please do, if you haven't registered already, please do. And so, I'm looking forward to having you with us. So thank you all. Thank you both so much for the wonderful segment. And
donate, damn it.
Yes.
Give us your money.
That's right.
They close them doors. We put something in this bucket.
Right. Close the doors.
Yes, and so thank you all once again. We are going to play that music one more time. Thank you so much to Edith for the $5 super chat. Edith is our co-host on ITC. She has been a very, very avid supporter of BN for the past few years, and we love her so much. Thank you. Thank you to everyone. So far, we have raised a total of $482 tonight. That is a very, very wonderful start for our 15th anniversary. Please keep the donations coming. And if you would like to make your contribution anonymous, you can do so through the PayPal Giving Fund. You can find that link on our website. And so, as we said, there's a grand opening and a grand closing. And so as much as I would have loved to have more time with y'all, we know there's been a long day, and we want to make sure you're on your way, but I could not end this live stream. I'm very, very, very honored to have our final special guest with us this evening. One of the OGs in this movement, and helping people to deconstruct and challenge their beliefs. And he's definitely been a brother to me, and a brother in arms. Everyone, I'm pleased to bring to you to the stage the one, the only Matt Dillahunty. Welcome to our live stream this evening.
Awesome. I'm invited to the cookout. I was listening to Secularity and GE, and they're talking about diversity. And And I know John was talking about how diverse the conference they're working on is going to be, and I'm like, it's not really diverse if every speaker there is often. So make sure is awesome. So you need to make sure you invite me, so there's a non-awesome speaker, and then it will truly be diverse. But how are you? It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. The M&M duo is back. We are often on the line together, talking to folks, and we are still unpacking last year. I think I might have told you before that, my husband was forced to retire as a part of this administration. So we were directly affected along with so many other people, the people who are being deported by ICE, the people who are losing benefits. We are among the federal families who were impacted by, the reduction in the federal workforce. Right. So it has just been an all around, it feels like it is terrorism, but it definitely is terrorism. I know that you have been speaking to that a lot. I mean, you do speak to it. And certainly we see folks in this administration who would love to tout Dr. King's legacy, or even just get rid of it, right? We see definitely both extremes, and sometimes I know it seems like it's almost not pointless, but it definitely is exhausting. What are in your thoughts on this day? What are your thoughts on this day about the legacy of Dr. King and what we know about his activism in a more total perspective? I'd love for folks to get your your thoughts on this holiday and where we are and how do we move forward.
Oh, they're going to be so disappointed. and it's strange because I grew up. So I was born in 1969, and he was killed the year before I was born. And my interaction with the Black community, the entirety of my birth to 18, consisted of, I remember seeing Sanford and Son on TV, but not being allowed to watch it for too long because there was something off, not necessarily race thing. I think it's because Red Fox was filthy, and my mom knew that. But they weren't filthy on Sanford and Son. And so the only actual in-person interaction, because I grew up in an area, there weren't any Black kids at my school, at least not that I remember. And our church hosted a sort of exchange student sort of thing. And the guy that stayed at our house, I don't remember how old I was, maybe 11, 12, 13, something like that. But the guy that stayed at our house, he was like 16, so he was older than me. And his name was Demetrius. And he was the first Black person I ever got to hang out with at all. And it was completely through the church. And still, if you'd have said, it was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I would have been, I have no idea what you're talking about. And so it's strange that, growing up, going to school in the 70s, the early 80s, I remember being taught, but only the absolute surface level, like the 2-3 paragraph encyclopedia entry. And so it was, at that point, I became just another person. Oh, I've got a Black friend, that type of thing. I can pretend like I know what the hell I'm talking about because nobody else around me knows anything. And it was a really, you don't know what you don't know. And it wasn't until I joined the Navy, and here I am actually engaging with, being in charge of, being shipmates with people from a lot of different religious and cultural backgrounds. And of course, you're not taught anything about what the civil rights movement was about or what Dr. King's work was about. But we had a Master Chief, bosun's mate, on our ship. And one thing that he did for all of the bosun's mates like myself, after I got out of the nuke program, I was a bosun's mate. He made sure that we knew the history of our rate in the Navy. And this comes in part because being bosun's mate, this is the history of this particular job in naval history. And his desire to make sure he passed on that history and make sure that you knew it and understood it also came from what he knew and understood about the civil rights movement, because he lived, he'd been in for 30 years, when I came in 88. And so he was in the Navy for this. And he would tell us the stories of watching society change and watching what it was like to be Black in the military fundamentally change to where there are straight up awful racist terms that just got used by default. Hey, we're going to go mooring over here. Here's a thing, and we're going to use an incredibly racist term to do it because we don't care. And it comes from slaver days and having ships carting people over. But even once we started integrating the U.S. Navy, there was a period of time where Black folks were absolutely, undeniably, on paper, second or third class citizens. You could only have these jobs, and you were limited to what you could do here. And he was one of the early ones who made Master Chief and passed down or turned over an opportunity for warrant officer. And he was my first introduction to the civil rights movement and Dr. King. And if any of us met him today, I guarantee you wouldn't fucking like him. Nobody. I don't care what your background was. He was absolutely surly, take no shit. And it's because he had put up with so much and seen so much that when he became Master Chief, that's the highest enlisted rank. And he was in charge, and everybody knew it. And nobody, not even the captain of the ship, would mess with him. And it's, he'd been there, he'd earned everything he'd done. But when he started teaching us about it, it made no sense to me. When I grew up, my parents, my grandparents and some of my extended family, obviously racist in how they talked about things. I remember I knew a racist joke that I learned from my grandfather before I'd ever met a Black person in person. And I don't know if there's a term for it. Maybe you can help me out here. I could give a little mini lecture at some point, not today, on the difference between implicit and explicit racism. When we're talking about systemic stuff, but there, even within the explicit racism, there are the absolute haters who would engage in violent action, and then there were the not violently hateful, but they're inferior. So my mockery is more about my superiority just in general, but let's live and let live. Let's all pretend we're not. Is there any distinction in the labels used? Or
I think you put it best. There's the implicit and explicit racism. And the one thing we've always said is that white supremacy doesn't always show itself in the actual physical bondage anymore, or now we're seeing a resurgence of it with this administration. And that would have to be something that we unpack at another time as well. I think that would probably be another good episode of the line, because it's important for us to continue to to talk through this. Because it's the microaggressions as well, of the well-meaning folks, the folks who, now, the ones who are explicitly against you, but it's also the microaggressions of those who at heart they may be wanting to help, but they are still conditioned by their indoctrination. And so sometimes it's hard to tell who is truly on a level and who isn't. And I think it's important to really take those experiences and I think it's important to hear from folks like you who have had that upbringing and how you came out of it and was able to better reshape your mindset.
Yeah, this is a long way around to say that nobody in your audience or any audience should care or try to pay attention to what my thoughts are on Dr. King, because I don't know enough. But what I can say, it was something, you learned the basics. What I can say is that if, you know, I was thinking just this morning, kids who were born after 9/11 are going to be hearing about it less and less, in part because there's new things and new problems. And when you have someone killed in 1968, and I'm born in 69, I heard some, but the generations coming up behind aren't hearing it as much. But the one takeaway from this, the reason I mentioned my Navy time is, if Dr. King and all of the civil rights leaders throughout the 60s hadn't been there actively doing this and working and risking everything, including their lives, to fundamentally change the world, and not just change the world from a legal perspective, but change the world from a perspective, where now you have to address this group, not just with your dismissive label, not just with your stereotype, but you're literally seeing individuals there who are compassionate, who could debate you under the table if they needed to, and who you had to look in the eye and explain why they should be considered less than anywhere else. And because they were doing that, this one individual stuck in the Navy dealing with who knows what. I mean, I only heard some of the stories, and it's undeniable that he spent more of his time educating Black sailors than he did folks like me. And I completely understand that, but I was grateful for that time. And if Dr. King and the individuals hadn't done such great work, even with lives cut short, then that person wouldn't have been there to take a kid who was oblivious to all of this and instill just a little spark of compassion and a little bit of encouragement to consider what someone else's life might be like. And just recognizing that no matter where you came from or what your view is, you can think you're superior, you can think your family's superior, you can think your race, your religion, whatever, you can do whatever you want as a spirit. But if you actually sit down and say, okay, would I want to be them? What I just said, if I were them, how would I like if that was being said and directed at me, or my mom, or my sister? Pick the person you care the most about and be like, would that be okay? And just recognizing that every single one of us is going to screw up, but we don't have to turn the world into a fearful, hateful, divisive place. And it's up to all of us, irrespective of our background, our skin tone, melanin is irrelevant. I like the fact that almost rhymes, but it is up to all of us to work together to make sure that 3 or 4 generations down the line, there's no good way to say this. If fewer people are talking about Dr. King in 3 generations, I hope that it's because we've moved so far beyond this and have moved so close to equitable and equality based positions that it's like, wow, can you believe how messed up that was? Wow, can you believe what people had to go to? And you learn, where it's like, oh yes, that's like a war that we don't even have anymore. We don't even understand. That's the reason I would want someone. But if we get 3 generations down the road, there's nobody who knows and remembers, and there's nobody who's telling the story, and it's still critical in daily lives. We're doomed. I think we're doomed in a number of different ways, but gosh, I hope this isn't one of them.
I hope not either, Matt. And if I can just take a few more minutes of your time to just talk about, Black Nonbelievers has been around now for 15 years. We're celebrating 15 years. Y'all, we became colleagues. We started hosting shows together. You have seen a progression in our work that I really appreciate your support with. Why do you think it is important, especially considering that, you said there was very little that you had known about, like the the totality of Dr. King's legacy, as well as probably some other areas of history. Why do you think it is important for organizations like ours? And not because, like you're a very famous, OG in this movement, I think it's important. But if you could let our viewers know, like what the importance of what we bring to this community and how we all work together. If you could just share some thoughts on that for the folks who are listening.
Well, it's critical kind of to extend what I was talking about, because it would be very easy. I have a whole bunch of categories in which I am undeniably privileged. Not every category. And you don't have to apologize for your privilege, but like you were saying earlier, I think you do have to spend it. And, I can point to areas where I'm definitely not privileged and where I'm marginalized. But whatever privilege I had, I need to use to help build allyships with other people. Because for the longest time, the godless community looked like me. Maybe their beards were a little bit longer, but, it's dudes, white dudes, old white dudes. I hate saying I'm old, but let's face it, I got a white beard and I'm getting older. And when I was talking before about the different categories that different racist acts might fall into, where you have, even within people who are saying, I'm telling jokes, but I don't mean any harm. I have the racism of lowered expectations of, oh, you're so well spoken. You've done really well for yourself in your, blue collar, blah, blah, blah. Without being able to put yourself in those people's shoes, there is no reason, no motivation why for someone like me to care. And I mean that in the sense that I had no interaction with the Black community growing up at all. If I hadn't joined the Navy, I'd still be sitting in Missouri, and I'd probably know 4 Black people and be completely oblivious to anything that's going on, because there's no motivation for me to care. And not because, we're naturally apathetic or anything else, but because every single one of us has got problems. This is why people think, oh, I'm not privileged. I'm poor. I don't make any. Yes, you are less privileged or underprivileged in some area, but you have advantages. It's undeniable. I watched a video today of an ICE agent with an Hispanic accent snatch somebody up, and because their accent was a little, particularly Hispanic, was like, "What country are you from?" And I'm like, I would laugh. Somebody tried to pull that with me, and yet these other people aren't in a position to do so. The people of different national heritages don't have a leg to stand on, whether they're actually citizens or not. They're still being targeted. What we're seeing is an expansion of racism. We're seeing an expansion of bigotry. We're seeing an increased targeting of LGBTQ people. We're seeing, I heard a rumor today. This is a complete rumor. I have not looked it up. I have no idea if there's a shred of anything in there. But somebody said, and I hope they were joking, that one of the reasons that Trump wants Greenland is so that he can create concentration camps there to put workers, whoever they convict, whoever they deport, whoever they decide is no longer part of this nation, put them there and use them as free labor to get the resources that we want there. I have no idea. But once upon a time, I would have said, you're an idiot. Why? How can you believe something so stupid? That's ridiculous. Now there's nothing that's too ridiculous. And so it's like, oh, they came after the trans folks. They're coming after gay marriage. They are deporting anybody who doesn't look right, doesn't sound right. How long is it before my friends like Mandisa are back to being worth 2/3 of what I'm worth in actuality and on paper? Because there's plenty of people who already think Mandisa's worth less than that. I think Mandisa's worth 2 of me any day of the week on an individual level when it comes to getting stuff done for, social improvement and activism, helping to create awareness. The reason to keep telling these stories is so that you wind up, not to pat myself on the back, you wind up with more people like me willing to participate alongside. Because while I would have never said a mean word, I would have never engaged in this sort of racial epithet. I hated it when my grandfather did it. I hated all of that. There's no motivation for someone with my background to participate and help until you show them. And until you say, you just don't know what happened. You don't know what's going on right now. You don't know what it's like to drive through this area with skin that is darker than yours, with even particular clothing. You don't know what it's like to be a woman. You don't know what it's, none of these things. And what we have to recognize is that it's much easier to stay put and not struggle against the status quo, even when the status quo starts slipping to be worse and worse and worse. And most people are not going to act until it's absolutely about to impact them directly. And by talking about the history of the civil rights movement, by talking about Dr. King, by talking about all the other people, by the way, Dr. King's just one of many, as we all know, all these people who struggled to make incremental improvements. And yet we're still not to a point where not only can we not pause, not only can we not take a breath, we are probably losing ground on every front for civil rights, not just regard with the Black community, but every front where we are losing. And if you don't keep spreading the word and participating, if you don't show up to show that there's a community, if you don't donate money to help organizations like Black Nonbelievers, if you don't show up and go to Black Nonbelievers CCon or any of those things, if you're not participating, nobody knows how much you care. So how much do you care? If nobody knows whether or not you give a damn about their life, do you? Because it's really easy to say, oh, I love you. It's completely different to show it. It's so easy to say, I'm an ally and I care about your community. It's much more difficult to show it. And if you want folks that do more than pay lip service, you've got to donate, you've got to get involved, and you have to work with the people who are doing the best job of teaching others. And that's why Mandisa and I have been friends. That's why I've been working with Black Nonbelievers at every opportunity, because I don't know shit about any of this, but I have lots of friends who do. So let's get a mic in their face, come help when I can. Mainly here's the arrogant closure for me. We need more people like me.
Yes.
We just don't need as many of them to look like me.
Right. We actually do, Matt. And with that, I want to thank you so much for being a part of our MLK Day live stream. I think this is part of what he envisioned for us to do. And we would be remiss if we did not acknowledge the number of white people who lost their lives alongside other Black folks in the civil rights movement and in the human rights movement, because there were many. And it is because of allies like that and conspirators like that we have come as far as we have. And so I look forward to, we know you, we can find you on the line and at your channel at Matt Dillahunty. If you aren't already following Matt, you need to. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
A part of our live stream, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon in the near future. And of course, anytime y'all need me on the line, I'm there. So let me know. All right.
Big hugs. Thanks, everybody. Donate.
You. Yes, please donate.
Give money. Give time.
Thank you, Matt. All right, y'all. I'm going to bring back my sisters, Kelly, and Cynthia, and we have to play one more time.
Yes.
Yeah, so previously we received another $20 donation via PayPal. Thank you so much, Naomi. We also received a $49.99 anonymous super chat, as well as another $9.99 super sticker from Minds Not Myths. So that brings us up to a grand total of $560 raised tonight in 2 hours. And of course, the donations don't stop. You can continue to donate via super chat. You can continue to donate via Zelle, Cash App, PayPal Giving Fund. And please, please, please do not let this be the end of your donations to us. We really, really appreciate all of our special guests tonight, and Cynthia and Kelly for the wonderful, wonderful work that they have done. Thank you to each and every one of you, and thank you to everyone who is in the chat still. If you want more, Kelly at Detroit Atheist Queen is doing an after show right after we end. So let's join.
Yeah, like 9:30. So a couple.
Around 9:30. So let's join Kelly for a little bit for the after show, and also join us on Wednesday on
Still donate.
Yes. And it is never too late to donate. So if y'all have some closing words for this live stream, it has just been fantastic. My goodness, this has just been fantastic.
That was a good idea I had.
Yeah.
Pat myself on the back.
Look at you.
Pat.
I absolutely love it. Yes. Thank you all. Thank you both so much for being a part of the Being family. I absolutely love y'all. It's always a time when we get together. It has just been so great. And for those of you who have never experienced a Being event like the Revival of Reason, and definitely CCon or anything else we do virtually, you are in for a time. And once again, for all of our official members, we are having our first ever meet and greet virtually, a game night and meet and greet Sunday, this coming Sunday, January 25th. Members will receive the link. So join us for that. And you can also join us at our in person and virtually, and also continue to tune into In the Cut, our live stream show that airs every first and third Saturday on our YouTube channel right here. And once again, you can get your Being swag. We have shirts, we have hoodies, we have mugs, we have everything that you need. Yes, after the party is the hotel line.
Hey.
Yes.
Hey. Might be some change. Depends on how much change you're giving.
It's not that kind of party. You're not going there tonight.
Yes, but hey, all right. Yeah, well, thank you.
And for $1,000, I don't know.
Whoa, okay.
Hey now.
Kelly put prices on it. That sounds like an OnlyFans.
Yeah, I know,
yeah. Yes, thank y'all all so much. Thank you to the wonderful, thank you to everyone who donated. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. And thank you to all of our special guests tonight. We had such a fabulous time. Let us continue to uphold Dr. King's legacy in its entirety. Remember that he was an advocate for separation of religion and government. He was an advocate for the further marginalized. He was an advocate for economic justice. And so I definitely, his legacy deserves to be upheld for years to come, and also to refine it, to fine tune it, to make sure that sometimes I'm not sure if lessons are ever learned, but we can only hope that it gets better, and we got to keep on going. So
gotta keep on pushing.
That's right. We keep on pushing, and yes, thank you both so much. Thank you to everyone. We will see y'all again very, very soon. Y'all take care, and let's join Kelly in a little bit for the after party, to the after show. And happy birthday once again. We will be celebrating with you. So we're going to take it down now. Thank you. Remember, you can keep donating after this live ends. We are trying to raise $50,000 for our 15th anniversary. We appreciate y'all so much, and every bit helps. Thank y'all.
Black non-believers / donate. All the links of how you can give us your money are there.
Yes.
Including the website.
That's right. Thank y'all so much.
Thanks again, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Everybody.